So, welcome back to the Beast Game Podcast. And this is a review for Luke Cage Season 2. And no, it's been out for a while. Came out maybe late June, but we have finally finished it. It's created by Chio Hodori Coker. It stars Mike Coulter, Simone Messick, and Alfre Woodard. The synopsis is, when sabotaged with the experiment that gives him superhuman strength and unbreakable skin, Luke Cage becomes a fugitive, attempting to rebuild his life in Harlem, and must soon confront his past and fight the battle for the heart of the city. This picks up where season 1 left off. So at the end of season 1, Mariah, who's played by Alfre Woodard, comes out on top. She's a criminal, but she tries to maintain her stature in the community as being councilwoman. She's trying to maintain her legitimate side and her illegitimate side, running her family business, which is built on crime. And Luke Cage is at a point where he had lost a lot of people in his life and he doesn't want to continue losing anybody else. He's still operating out of the barbershop, but the barbershop is more just a meeting place, not an active barbershop. Mariah starts trying to reinvigorate her criminal side. What happens is that some of that involves some Jamaicans. Also, some other characters from the first season. I think one guy was Arturo. So
Shades.
Yeah, and also Shades is still there. Then there's a new guy on the scene from one of the Jamaican crews who's named Bushmaster, John McIver. That's kind of where we'll stop, even though people have already seen this. This is a spoiler cast. So, Mike, what did you think of Luke Cage Season 2?
I think it carried over well from the first season. I was kind of curious to see where it was actually going to go. You got to the end of the first season, it was like, all right, so you got this guy who's indestructible walking around Harlem. Who's really going to be able to stop this guy? Bullets can't hurt him. Punches can't hurt him. So when they came with this villain in this season, that kind of answered the question. I thought it was a nice little play that, okay, so there's somebody out there who's equally as strong or who can hurt him.
It goes into the mystical side. So go ahead, Mike.
That was my biggest concern, is how you really going to get a formidable opponent for somebody who's indestructible. At the same time, that person can't be corny. One of the things I liked about Luke Cage, and this goes back to season 1 and carried over to season 2, was I like how Marvel let them make the show that I think they should have made, which is, if it's Harlem, New York City, black neighborhood, the language is going to be a certain way, the music's going to be a certain way. There are things that you just come to expect. I'll put it like that. And they let that carry over well into this. I think the Jamaicans were represented, how you see Jamaicans. Just overall, I think all the characters were kind of balanced this season. Alfre Woodard's character, to be honest with you, after a while, started kind of getting on my nerves a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. Her story arc should have ended very much early on. And I understand the path that they took for Luke Cage to kind of get to where he is by the season's end. They could have eliminated her.
Yeah, I felt like halfway through the season, that whole thing with her could have just been over and done.
So one thing I didn't bring up is that they introduced a new character for her, who is her daughter. She has a complicated relationship with the mother, and then also Mariah's brother, who shows up in the first season. So there's a whole long, complicated history about how her and the mother don't get along, why they don't get along, and it also ties into Bushmaster as well.
I feel like with the daughter's thing, I almost kind of feel like that was a little too easy. I kind of knew where that was going to go by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So honestly, I feel like they could have done a better job with that. Now you're going to see, I guess, her next season and what she decides. Well, we'll get to that later. Alfre Woodard's character's whole storyline could have ended early. They gave Shades a storyline, I guess you could say, with him and
his
showed up.
Character arc just went very weird places. So the friend called Comanche, who is kind of dipping on both sides of being legitimate and illegitimate, or at least trying to.
Yeah.
I just didn't like
they had
that.
a relationship in jail.
Yeah.
And at one point, as much as I say people were balanced, there were times where it was just kind of like, all right, y'all kind of going a little all over the place with the story. With all these different, I guess you could call it love triangles going on, because Shades is with
Mariah.
With Mariah, but now his boy is what we had, and he's telling him that was just in prison.
And then you have Luke Cage and Misty, Luke Cage and Claire, and then Luke Cage and like Tilda and Bushmaster.
Yeah, I think they could have cut back on the love triangle stuff a bit.
Well, one of the problems I did have was that they wrote Claire off very early on. So Luke Cage just spazzes out one day, punches into a wall. Claire doesn't want to be with him. Next episode, she's no longer around.
Yeah, she disappears for the rest of the season.
I could have understood that maybe he sent her away because things were getting too dangerous, and then she did. But she was one of the more interesting characters in every of these shows. For Iron Fist season 1, probably the best part about it.
Yeah, she's almost like a bit of glue that keeps everything kind of stuck together, too.
Very well integrated in Daredevil. The Defenders, well integrated. Jessica Jones, I mean, she shows up, and that's kind of really what kind of got her start with Luke Cage. So I thought that the middle part of the season was good, but the way that it ended, I just didn't like it. So the Mariah story just goes on way too long. There's a lot of things with Bushmaster, who is the most interesting character this season.
Absolutely.
They kind of waste his storyline, even to a point where he has to team up with Luke Cage for like no apparent reason. But that's the way that the story wants to take you in.
Honestly, it feels like Marvel does this a lot. To me, when he teamed up with Bushmaster, it seemed almost like a Thor Loki kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we got some differences right now. We're going to team up for this 1 second to get this done. And then it's right back to it where, all right, yeah, we're back to beefing.
The main problem is just that a lot of the B storylines. So the Comanche storyline, I think there's another corrupt cop storyline. Mariah trying to open up a whole clinic for the legacy of her grandmother or mother was just weird and very unnecessary. And a lot of that was just to develop the Tilda character into hating her mother. Iron Fist Danny Rand shows up, I guess an episode and a half. Much improved.
I sat there and watched that episode and said they did this to give him some traction going into Iron Fist season 2. If he'd have been that in season 1, then season 1 would have been a whole lot better. His whole persona, his dynamic, I even say a little bit of swag he had in the connection with Luke Cage worked on this episode. Like the whole Power Man Iron Fist dynamic you saw, and it was like, okay, if you made this a show, because this isn't bad. Him by himself, season 1 was terrible. Don't do that ever again.
Definitely. My name's Danny Rand, and my parents were rich.
Yeah. He showed up this one. He's like, oh, yeah, and Luke Cage like, my man, Danny Rand. He's like, yeah, Luke Cage. And he giving him dap. And I'm like, okay, this is how it should have been from
season 1. Danny Rand would have been, I'm the master of Kunlun.
Yeah. Luke, what are you doing? And Kunlun, we have to meditate. Find your chi. I don't know how to use the Iron Fist. I don't want to use it right now. Shows up like twice in the entire season. So yeah, I thought that episode was good. I think they were kind of hinting at the whole possibility of Power Fist and Iron Man in the future. Somewhere I say Iron Man. Iron Man and Iron Fist.
Iron Man is a better character than Iron Fist.
Later on, down the line, they may end up doing that. I agree with you. I didn't like the ending. That was one thing about this season that really did kind of put a damper on it. When it got to the end and I saw how this ended, I was just like, seriously, we're going to do this? It's sort of like with great power comes great responsibility, but now Luke Cage is going to say, well, I can do this.
Yeah.
And do it for good, knowing that he's going to end up becoming corrupt and not doing things the way it should be done.
Yeah. So for people that haven't seen it, everything centers around Harlem's Paradise. The whole thing is the fight for Harlem's Paradise. Bushmaster's beef is that I think it was her grandfather and Bushmaster's grandfather.
Yeah, they had the business deal.
They were doing a rum deal, and the rum was being sold at Harlem's Paradise, and Bushmaster's family was supposed to get a cut, and they owned part of Harlem's Paradise. So Mariah's grandfather cuts him out of the deal, and then eventually her grandmother tries to kill the family, and Harlem's Paradise becomes sole ownership of Mariah's family. So that is Bushmaster's beef with Harlem's Paradise, but it ends with Luke Cage taking control of Harlem's Paradise, but Mariah dies. Her daughter is a holistic doctor. She's been treating kind of begrudgingly and sometimes. And
this time it was begrudging, and there was other times it seemed kind of willingly she was treating Bushmaster.
Yeah, I was trying to find the right word, but she's been helping Bushmaster out because Bushmaster gets his power from some flowers or this whole concoction that gives him super strength that is also killing him. Luke Cage ends up with Harlem's Paradise, and that's where things will likely pick up. So Mariah's dead. Luke Cage is in charge of Harlem's Paradise. Bushmaster's still out there. Shades
Claire
is still
comes
out there.
back, but he sends her away. They don't show her.
Like, yeah, I'm rocking out to the music right now. Be gone!
Yeah, tell her leave.
So let's just go through some characters really quickly. So what did you think of Luke Cage this season?
I think he seemed pretty much kind of the same from the first season. Just, I guess he's supposed to be a hero that's still trying to find his way. Like the first season, he understood that he had powers. To me, at times, it seemed like he didn't really want to use them because he didn't want to hurt people. But then he realized he has to do what he has to do. And this season almost kind of seemed the same. I think the conflict as far as his relationship with his father was in Rest in Peace of Reggie Cathy. I thought that was an interesting dynamic because the first season, his brother showing up, he would go on and on about his mother, and I think in the first season he made reference to his father and not really getting along with him. And in the second season, his father kind of explained some stuff to him, and he kind of realized, I think, how he's more so like his father than he thinks he is. So that was an interesting storyline for him. The ending, I just don't see where that would have ended up being his ultimate decision in reality.
Yeah, for me, what should have been the ending is when Bushmaster burns down Mariah's house. That should have been the end of the season. She dies. He takes control of Harlem's Paradise. That should have been the ending.
She signed it over to him. In my mind, I instantly went, Luke's not going to keep it. So I get the twist of, yeah, he's going to take it over and all that, but I still don't think that's the direction it should have gone. That kind of brought his character down just a bit for me because, like I said, I think we've already seen this before plenty of times where someone thinks they're stronger or better than evil and they can do right with it, and then it ends up basically consuming them, and they end up being the thing that they keep swearing that they're trying to defend or protect against. So you just kind of see where this is going now.
Yeah. So quickly, I think Luke Cage was a lot better and a lot more developed character in season 1. Season 2 doesn't diminish him, but it doesn't really enhance his character a lot. So we'll see what happens with season 3. So the next character is going to be Mariah Dillard.
Could have got rid of her after halfway through the season.
All right.
And I felt like this after the first season. I was more upset that they killed Cottonmouth off that early. I felt like he should have made it. She should have been the one to go.
For me, what really should have been the arc was that when she went to the restaurant to kill the Jamaicans and some of Bushmaster's family, he should have burned her in her house. And that be
it.
Yeah, the arc of the season. Everything else is just, like you said, filler. Getting to Bushmaster, what did you think of him? And
best character on the season.
Everyone just saying Wagwan. Like for no apparent reason, Wagwan. I'm like, all right,
I was a fan. I thought dude was Jamaican. I was really shocked when I found out that he wasn't. I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn he was. He had the accent down. Fact. He was entertaining for one.
Yeah. And he wasn't too cartoony.
He wasn't corny at all. Like, he came off as,
he was
you
bad
killed
dude.
my family, and I'm out for all types of revenge.
He's doing things for the right reason in his eyes.
Yeah, and he was hell-bent on it, and nobody was going to stop him. He had his voice of reason, and his uncle sitting there telling him, like, man, let it go, don't do this. And he's telling him, what are you talking about? Hell no. I want what's mine. I want everything that's coming to me, and I'm going to get it. And he pretty much told everybody, either you with it or you ain't. You step out the way.
Yeah.
But I thought it was real cool how they did it, especially the dude that was running around with the video camera ended up taping him beating Luke Cage.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like Luke Cage goes
and him telling Luke, like, yo, man, this is business, bro. You got your ass whooped. That was the one thing I was curious about, like, what kind of villain are you going to be able to get for this guy? So to have somebody who could actually punch him and hurt him and who, to me, was kind of on his same level was very good. And like I said, I think Bushmaster was the good dynamic that they needed this season.
All right, so let's talk about Tilda Johnson Dillard, whatever you want to call her, but what was your view on her?
Man, I get why she's there, but again, everything with her was just kind of predictable. The second she hit the screen and you saw what she did, it was like, okay.
Yeah, they're going to have to rebuild her trust with Mariah, and then Mariah has to betray her trust. Hey, this is how the family's going to be. This is what we've been built on.
And by the end of it, she was going to end up hating her, and then soon enough, I could tell, I'm like, all right, well, she's going to kill her. Got this already. And then she shows up at the club, so you already know that now she's going to be the villain next season, or she's going to be up to something. She's basically going to become what she swore she didn't like about her mother. She's going to end up being that. We already see this how it's going to play out. She was upset because she didn't leave Harlem's Paradise to her. Like, where's this character really supposed to go from there?
So the next person would be Shades.
I could have done without him, to be honest with you.
All right. Integral to a lot of things, but he flip-flops with Mariah, so at some point he has a falling out with her. He's back in it, and then he flip-flops, and then he's trying to set her up. But go ahead.
I said that whole storyline was just getting real old real quick. That whole he's in love with her, they together type thing, and then everyone looks grossed out and they're like, yeah, but y'all don't get it. That's his woman or whatever. It's
Yeah. So
like, you literally, to me, you could have plucked him out the story altogether and wouldn't have made no difference. The story would have still been fine without him. I just don't see the point of him this season, to be honest with you.
All right.
Other than some filler for each episode.
Pretty much. What did you think of Misty? Kind of last question.
Misty's almost like Claire. She's kind of become a bit of glue through all these series as well. But I think her storyline is building. mainly because she's got the arm now, and it's not necessarily a power, but it's kind of her superpower now. And I think you see the transition she's going from where she's always been that cop that's tried to do the right thing and get things done, and now they're trying to push her towards that leadership role. Almost like
the whole thing with her character this season is that she's trying to technically be set up for this. Some people on the take in the police department that are trying to help Mariah. So how many times people walk into Harlem's Paradise that should not belong there is ridiculous. That people just walk in. It's like, well, how'd you get in here? Like, well, the people at the door let me in. Luke Cage walks in, Bushmaster walks in, the police walk in, Misty walks in. But so any final thoughts and the score?
Better series on Netflix as far as Marvel's concerned. I think I still rank it third.
So I assume that would be Daredevil, either 1 or 2, flip-flop.
Yeah, Daredevil's still my number 1. I'll just count both seasons of those together, and then Punisher's right after that. And then after that, I put Luke Cage.
Yeah, for me, that would probably be... are you putting series or seasons?
Right now, I'm just doing the entire series.
All right. Yeah, I think I would... So I like Punisher, but I like Luke Cage season 1 a lot more. Ooh, I think I might have to go with that one. And then Jessica Jones. And then very far away would be the Defenders, and then Iron Fist season 1. All right, what score would you give it?
Season 1 better. I can't say that instantly. I was really pleasantly surprised with season 1 Luke Cage because they, again, let it be what I felt it should have been, which is...
It's kind of blaxploitation, very music-driven. The music played a big role. The acting was very good. And kind of the story arcs, at least with Cornell dying, it's a little wrong, but...
Yeah, I still don't like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Mahershala Ali, too. Pleasantly surprised when he popped up on screen. I'm like, yeah, this will work.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the direction with the with Cottonmouth. What's his brother's name? That came in the second half of the season 1.
Ooh, I can't think. Oh, Diamondback.
There you go. That crap was kind of. I give the season a 7.5, only because I didn't like the ending. I felt like Mariah's story dragged on way too long. Shay's story too. Bushmaster, that whole arc really did save it for me because I did enjoy that part thoroughly.
Anytime he was on screen, season goes up. Anytime he's not on screen and is focusing on Mariah, her daughter, or all these other side characters that are tying into everything, season goes down. So I'm going to give it a 7. Bushmaster. I'd like to see more of him. Please don't kill him off next season either. I think having somebody that is formidable, relatable as Bushmaster is very good. Stryker was a little off.
I didn't get his whole thing, but Bushmaster, you understood why he was doing what he was doing, and you can empathize.
He was doing it out of pride. He was doing it out of family pride. It's like his family got robbed. Now he's going to take what belongs to him. That's pretty much his whole...
Yeah, plain and simple.
Yeah, and Luke Cage...
a whole lot of science to this.
And Luke Cage himself kind of takes a step back. I didn't like the writing Claire off so simply. She was gone by like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it was episode 3. That's why I think she was only in the first 2, and then that was it.
Yeah, and that whole drama between her and Luke Cage felt forced. Luke Cage just can't handle his anger, so he punches the wall.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't get it. But Daredevil got all types of messed up, and she was trying to make love to him.
Again, I give this a 7. I mean, it's good. Bushmaster is great, but again, I think compared to season 1, it's definitely a small step back.
Yeah.
Mariah dragged on too long, and then the way that she dodges is anticlimactic, and the Shades just being around. I would have probably preferred for his character to die. As much as I like Theo Rossi, Sons of Anarchy, he was great. Juice. His character and Mariah have ran their course. And there's
absolutely
really not too much else that you could do with them. And then you also have the one character, Piranha, and that was just the most cornball person on the show. But Bushmaster is great. Go Jamaica. And
Irie.
Wagwa. But yeah, it's the Beast Game Podcast.
Yeah. I'm glad they left him alive though.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah.
Because at least you know the possibility is he can return.
Pretty much. He should have returned.
I mean, Shades got locked up, but we already know how this is going to go. He's going to come back and...
It's like, hey, what do you mean? I helped you guys.
Luke Cage. You became what we were.
Yeah.
How does it feel? You're not better than us. All that kind of crap, so...
You think you're better than me, Luke Cage?
You're no different than Mariah.
Yeah.